grateful for heroes proved in liberating strife. Who more than self their country loved, and mercy more than life. America, America, make God thy gold refined, till all success be nobleness, and ever again divine. And you know, when I was in school, we used to sing it something like this. Listen here. Oh, beautiful, far spacious skies, far amber waves of grain, far purple mountain majesties, over the fruited plain. But now wait a minute, I'm talking about America, sweet America. You know, God done shed his grace on thee. He crowned thy good. Yes, he did. Heavy brotherhood from sea to shining sea. You know, I wish I had somebody to help me sing this. America, I love you, America. You see, my God, he done shed his grace on thee. You ought to love him for it, because he crowned that good. He told me he would. Every brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, Lord, I thank you, Lord.
What it do? What it do? What's happening, y'all? Man, hold on. I was sitting there sharing for a minute. But first and foremost, man, last night was a very, very interesting video. But before I actually made the Tucker and Putin interview, and before I actually get into it, I wanted to give a serious shout out to Tucker Carlson and what he did, and the courage that it took for him to do this, even though all odds were against him. Because I really think that this here is something that we as a country really needed. A real reporter, not tied to any of the mainstream MSM, paid out of his own pocket to bring us this truth. It's kind of funny though, man, you know what I'm saying, on how the press was attacking. And then last video that I put out was, what are they afraid of? You know, and you see like the meltdowns and all that. And I really didn't get a chance, really the time to sit there and really get like all the clips. So I may just go through some clips and elaborate, but I got one in particular that was really on the top of my mind. And for my assessment, in my view of Putin, and I want to choose my words very wisely. That number one is I said I'm America first. I love America, and I have a complete understanding of keeping his America, of keeping his country great too. Which I'm fully for everybody making their countries great, you know. And I looked at this interview on into that perspective, unbiased, irregardless of what the mainstream news been saying to me, irregardless of what independent news been telling me, just hearing his view. But let me do this one first. And this one was one of the biggest, no, it's one of the biggest issues that was on my mind during this interview. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit there and put this file up, right? And this was a good file, but this was very important, and I had to listen to this very, very carefully. So you know what, y'all? Let's get into this, and I'll give you an assessment. This is one issue that was of my concern.
Who blew up Nord Stream?
You for sure.
I was busy that day.
You personally may have an alibi, but the CIA has no such alibi.
Do you have evidence that NATO or the CIA did it?
You know, I won't get into details, but people always say in such cases, look for someone who is interested. But in this case, we should not only look for someone who is interested, but also for someone who has capabilities. Because there may be many people interested, but not all of them are capable of sinking to the bottom of the Baltic Sea and carrying out this explosion. These two components should be connected. Who is interested and who is capable of doing it?
But I'm confused. I mean, that's the biggest act of industrial terrorism ever, and it's the largest emission of CO2 in history. Okay, so if you had evidence, and presumably given your security services, your intel services, you would, that NATO, the US, CIA, the West did this, why wouldn't you present it and win a propaganda victory?
In the war of propaganda, it is very difficult to defeat the United States because the United States controls all the world's media and many European media. The ultimate beneficiary of the biggest European media are American financial institutions. Don't you know that? So it is possible to get involved in this work, but it is cost prohibitive, so to speak. We can simply shine the spotlight on our sources of information, and we will not achieve results. It is clear to the whole world what happened, and even American analysts talk about it directly. It's true.
Yes, but here's a question you may be able to answer. You worked in Germany, famously. The Germans clearly know that their NATO partner did this, but it damaged their economy greatly. It may never recover. Why are they being silent about it? That's very confusing to me. Why wouldn't the Germans say something about it?
This also confuses me. But today's German leadership is guided by the interests of the collective West rather than its national interests. Otherwise, it is difficult to explain the logic of their action or inaction. After all, it is not only about Nord Stream 1, which was blown up, and the Nord Stream 2 was damaged. But one pipe is safe and sound, and gas can be supplied to Europe through it. But Germany does not open it. We're ready, please. There's another route through Poland called Yamal Europe, which also allows for large flow. Poland has closed it, but Poland pecks from the German hand. It receives money from the pan-European funds, and Germany is the main donor to these pan-European funds. Germany feeds Poland to a certain extent, and they close their route to Germany. Why? I don't understand. Ukraine, to which the Germans supply weapons and give money. Germany is the second sponsor of the United States in terms of financial aid to Ukraine. There are two gas routes through Ukraine. They simply closed one route, the Ukrainians. Open the second route and please get gas from Russia. They do not open it. Why don't the Germans say, look guys, we give you money and weapons, open up the valve, please let the gas from Russia pass through for us. We're buying liquefied gas at exorbitant prices in Europe, which brings the level of our competitiveness and economy in general down to zero. Do you want us to give you money? Let us have the decent existence. Make money for our economy, because this is where the money we give you comes from. They refuse to do so. Why? Ask them. That is what is like in their heads. Those are highly incompetent people.
Well, maybe the world is breaking into two hemispheres, one with cheap energy, the other without. And I want to ask you that. If we're now a multipolar world, obviously we are, can you describe the blocks of alliances? Who is in each side, do you think?
Listen, you have said that the world is breaking into two hemispheres. A human brain is divided into two hemispheres. One is responsible for one type of activities, the other one is more about creativity and so on. But it is still one and the same head. The world should be a single whole. Security should be shared rather than meant for the golden billion. That is the only scenario where the world could be stable, sustainable, and predictable. Until then, while the head is split in two parts, it is an illness, a serious adverse condition. It is a period of severe disease that the world is going through now. But I think that thanks to honest journalism, this work is akin to work of the doctors. This could somehow be remedied.
Well, let's just give one example, the US dollar, which has kind of united the world in a lot of ways, maybe not to your advantage, but certainly to ours. Is that going away as the reserve currency, the universally accepted currency? How have sanctions, do you think, changed the dollar's place in the world?
You know, to use the dollar as a tool of foreign policy struggle is one of the biggest strategic mistakes made by the US political leadership. The dollar is the cornerstone of the United States power. I think everyone understands very well that no matter how many dollars are printed, they are quickly dispersed all over the world. Inflation in the United States is minimal. It's about 3 or 3.4%, which is, I think, totally acceptable for the US. But they won't stop printing. What does the debt of $33 trillion tell us about? It is about the emission. Nevertheless, it is the main weapon used by the United States to preserve its power across the world. As soon as the political leadership decided to use the US dollar as a tool of political struggle, a blow was dealt to this American power. I would not like to use any strong language, but it is a stupid thing to do and a grave mistake. Look at what is going on in the world. Even the United States allies are now downsizing their dollar reserves. Seeing this, everyone starts looking for ways to protect themselves. But the fact that the United States applies restrictive measures to certain countries, such as placing restrictions on transactions, freezing assets, etc., causes great concern and sends a signal to the whole world. What did we have here? Until 2022, about 80% of Russian foreign trade transactions were made in US dollars and euros. US dollars accounted for approximately 50% of our transactions with third countries, while currently it is down to 13%. It wasn't us who banned the use of the US dollar. We had no such intention. It was decision of the United States to restrict our transactions in US dollars. I think it is complete foolishness from the point of view of the interests of the United States itself and its taxpayers, as it damages the US economy, undermines the power of the United States across the world.
So when does the AI empire start, do you think?
You're asking increasingly more complicated questions. To answer them, you need to be an expert in big numbers, big data, and AI. Mankind is currently facing many threats. Due to the genetic researches, it is now possible to create a superhuman, a specialized human being, a genetically engineered athlete, scientist, military man. There are reports that Elon Musk had already had a chip implanted in the human brain in the USA.
What do you think of that?
Well, I think there's no stopping Elon Musk. He will do as he sees fit. Nevertheless, you need to find some common ground with him, search for ways to persuade him. I think he's a smart person. I truly believe he is. So you need to reach an agreement with him because this process needs to be formalized and subjected to certain rules. Humanity has to consider what is going to happen due to the newest development in genetics or in AI. One can make an approximate prediction of what will happen. Once mankind felt an existential threat coming from nuclear weapons, all nuclear nations began to come to terms with one another since they realized the negligent use of nuclear weaponry could drive humanity to extinction. It is impossible to stop research in genetics or AI today, just as it was impossible to stop the use of gunpowder back in the day.
Well, yeah, let's give it up for Tucker again. But that one right there, that clip, really made me think. It gives you a little insight on the way our system intertwines with other countries, either if it was militarily, by the alphabet organizations, and just like Putin sit there and said, we already know what's happening. And by that statement, as I'm paraphrasing why I was watching it, Putin confirmed in that point everything I've been saying for the past 3 years. Now, nobody can sit there and say that, oh, right, you're just a Putin sympathizer or anything like that. Before this Ukrainian war even started, before all this, before 2016, just say that, well, we already knew what was happening inside Syria and the information they were giving us about Putin. At one point in time, when they were trying to get rid of ISIS, quote unquote, Okay. Russia allied up with us. That they were fighting ISIS, so they say. You know what I'm saying? And then things started falling apart with the red line deal, what Obama said, and the gas attacks with Syria, just in case you forgot. That's when it started going downhill with our relationships with Russia. But also, in a lot of aspects, Putin had a lot of good ideas that he actually presented to the UN. You know what I'm saying? Even presented to Johnson, which he said that Johnson, who was the prime minister of Great Britain, that they're ready to sit down and the paperwork was already ready to end the war. He sat there and said the war would have ended months ago, a year ago. But Johnson is the one that bypassed all that. And then a good point that Putin said was, where is he now? And as I'm looking at this, hold on one second. I was on a webcast. What do you say?
Would you like to use the small meeting room?
Sorry about that. Well, anyways, as it goes, all right. The oh man, I lost my train of thought. As it goes on, that I was watching, and every time he actually talked or made anything about the mention any of our public officials, he said, ask them. So, anyways, let me put like a quick clip or something like that. Hold on. Because I want to make this move. Or else give me a couple seconds and I will get right back to you. I'll be right back. I got to make a move real quick. Okay, sorry about that. I had to make a move real quick. But as I was sitting there, as I was watching it, there's one thing that I did notice. One thing that I did notice about during the interview that anytime that he actually talked to any US official, right? He always said, ask him. So, anyways, there was one story that he sat there and said that it was back in the time during the Clinton administration that I guess they were having a meeting or something like that, that they were at some event. I'm not sure exactly what it was. And he sat there and said that he went to Bill Clinton and he asked Bill Clinton that if he could, um, that he would like to join the United Nations. Now remember, this is before the Boom Boss incident or anything like that. And he was trying to get in. Okay. So Clinton was like basically paraphrasing the whole thing, you know. He sat there, he goes, well, he's like, all right, man, you know, we'll sit there, we'll try to get in. I'll sit there and ask him, sit there and see if we can get you in the United Nations. So then Putin says that he comes back, and then all of a sudden they said they can't do that. Okay. So Tucker was like, well, they say that you're upset. He's like, no, that's what they said. And he said no. And I was fine with it. And that's one thing I really did like about this interview that Putin really thinks. I mean, I really think like him. Like we have two of the same kindred mindsets, as in this, you know what I'm saying, in this perspective. If I sit there and I ask something, or if I sit there and I give an idea, and it's sitting there shut down, I am going to have no grudge in it. Basically, you know, I'm like, okay, fine. But then again, when I sit there and talk about people putting a narrative just because the way you react, when the first time, like, you know what, you said no, I respected that. Let's move on. And that's the type of attitude that I see him as, you know. And I don't want nobody to sit there and put a narrative saying that, okay, well, dude, you're just trying to humanize Putin. He's a tyrant, yada yada. And I says, if the man was really a tyrant, right? And if he was really lying, not saying that I trust him, but I give everybody a grain of everything in grain of salt. I give a benefit of the doubt and a grain of salt at the same time. But the factors that's given me and given Putin more of a benefit of the doubt is because when he mentioned Clinton, when he mentioned Bush, and it's crazy that the one thing that was crazy that maybe I missed it, but I didn't really hear he didn't say anything about Obama, which was kind of peculiar to me in a lot of aspects, you know. And that being said, you know, he talked about the history and all that. Thank you, Mr. Tudor, for being a great world cultures teacher, because everything that Putin said, you said. So, and this was 30 years before this speech even came out. You know, Mr. Tudor, Highlands High School, thank you very much, dude. Thank you very much. I don't know if you're alive or dead, but you know what? Kudos. Thank you for teaching me. You know? And now that I hear for myself from his perspective and the history of it, about the history through Poland, the Slovakias, and Ukraine, and what Ukraine was and stuff like that, that it really wasn't, they just called the people Ukraine and all that stuff like that. Okay, I get it. You know, only reason being I get it is because of what I was taught in school. So that was pretty much valid. I don't know it all like that, but my main interest was in 1917, Lenin, you know what I'm saying? Uh, Karl Marx and his manifesto, Rasputin, Nicholas and Alexandra, and all that stuff like that. Yeah, I was very into. I like world cultures. I'm no communist or anything like that, but I've read the literature. I even read Samansky's Rules to a Radical. You know, and I even started a Satanic Bible just to read to see what it was, and I had to put that book down. I never read it again. I don't even want to talk about it. It's sick. But anyways, you know, um, so it's not humanizing Putin, but I do respect the fact that anytime he mentioned a U.S. official's name, he said, ask them. So I'm like, you know what? I says, okay. You know what I'm saying? I says, okay. You know, then I am going to ask, right? So I sat there, you know, I went into my replies. You know what I'm saying? I found Bill Clinton's. No, so they take it off. Wow. I'm sitting looking inside my replies. Is what are you afraid of? Okay. I'm trying to find it at the moment. I put it on my Twitter. Not unless they sat there and took it off. Well, let's see. Let me go to my Facebook real quick. Okay. Hold up. Okay, there you go. Bam. And I see myself live on this bad boy. Hello, me. Ha. Just a joke. Okay. So this is what I said there, and this is what I asked Bill Clinton, because he sat there and said this. Geez. He says this. Hey, my man, everybody calls me. But anyways, he says this. If Putin did ask Bill Clinton, okay, to come into the United Nations, remember this is before the Donbass and Crimea and all that, right? Then Clinton was down with it and he said yes, and then came back and said no. And then Putin says that his, I'll just say, constituents or his accomplices, comrades, friends, whatever you want to call it, all right, sit there and said no, and he came back to him. And then he says, ask him that we did have the conversation. So you know what? So I sat there. Let me share. All right. Okay. I'll ask the question. You know, because why would the man sit there and say that and say ask and sit there and say ask? You know, why would he sit there and say that? Okay. So, anyways, here we go. That's shared. All right. And I'm like this. Since Putin said ask you, then I will ask. Did you try to help Putin get into the United Nations and you was undercut? If true, then who undercut you? If Russia negotiated? Putin said ask you, so I will ask. At Bill Clinton. Right there. All right? So, there's other people too. that he asked. Was it was hold on. Oh wow, they can't comment through some destiny. You can't post your. So, anyways, that being said, and that being asked, if Putin was lying, okay, about Bill Clinton, all right, and subscribe to and matter of fact here, I'm also live on Twitter and stuff like that. So just to sit there and show you real quick, you know, that here's my Twitter handle, share screen. Okay. That's my Twitter that's my Twitter right here. J Da Vinci or at J Da Vinci 17. You know what I'm saying? You see some of the stuff that I have on, and I'm starting to post more time to time, and then also, we'll do like a little bit of Twitter tours and stuff like that. But as you can see, that if I'm ever off of Facebook, I mean, I'll upload a Rumble, but Rumbles is too much trouble right now. I'm just waiting until I get an icon before I really, really go back to Rumble. But since I can go on Twitter, as you can see, this live show, you see me scrolling and stuff like that. You see that right there? That's my Twitter right there, J Da Vinci or at J Da Vinci 17, and wow, they're really delaying all that. Wow. So you're getting this late, just to let you know. But anyways, as it goes on, there you see me on Twitter and stuff like that, just to show you. Well, X, excuse me. I have to keep on trying to say X. And also, I just want to give a shout out to Elon Musk. You know what I'm saying? That you know what, as I said, all of me, very, very smart guy. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I have some disagreements, but I really do appreciate, what Elon Musk is doing, especially right now in this day inside of our country, dealing with all this censorship and stuff like that, because this video might be off of YouTube, which you can subscribe at 40 Clever, but I really prefer you to more subscribe to Twitter because primarily X, because primarily this is what I'm going to be on just in case I do get kicked off of Facebook, just in case I do get kicked off of YouTube, that you'll always find me here on Twitter. J Da Vinci at J Da Vinci 17, and then after that, then I'll really start going into Rumble and all that stuff like that, and they'll be back on Rumble. It's just that it's so much work to this all the coding and stuff just to hook it together and stuff like that. And it's hard from working. Like I have a regular life. I don't do this for a living. I have a job. I grind, so, and also I'm working on bigger and better things that I'm working on myself. So it's taking a long time because you're doing every aspect of the design of this whole podcast I'm trying to build. I mean, from the artwork to the products, I got my own shoes. I got a business coming up that's going to be very, very cool for all of y'all. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to have to find a way to capitalize. So I'm going a little bit out the box and how to capitalize, but also at the same time merch. But to be honest with you, that when it comes to the capitalization of this, dude, the money is not worth. I've been doing this with no monetization. I don't really care about all that other stuff, because I don't want their money. I don't want the industry's money. YouTube, I don't want your fucking money. Facebook, I don't want your fucking money. I don't want your money, period. And I don't want no commercials on my shit. You're not making money when I'm not making money on it. And I don't want your money. So get the people, make that money off the people that you want to monetize off. I'm fine with it. But you know what? I don't have my shackles on you. I don't have your shackles on my hands and feet. I don't. And I'm just sitting there just letting this out as a disclaimer. but I got some very cool things, some out of the box things. And then this will go toward to making this podcast better, um, more informative, more spiritual. You know what I'm saying? And entertaining, because the first thing, man, this is about Jesus for me, and these are the end times. But let alone is, I think our job is to try to help you, help the body to navigate through these perilous times and these times of revelation. All right. So last but not least, my assessment of Mr. Putin, or I'm going to say President Putin of Russia. His side of it's pretty much valid. It's nothing that I didn't know since the war started. If you look back inside my Facebook, if you have it, that the night of the actual attack, I put out biolabs. But from his POV, right? From his POV, I get it. You know? And have you noticed that the day of the interviews, the day that we sent that $66 billion to the Ukraine? And isn't that 14 Republicans? Oh yeah, here, I'll show you. Matter of fact, here, I'll put it all there for you. Hold on. Right there. All right. So this was happening today. All right. 95 billion foreign aid bill, and not 1 cent went to the border. Okay. All right. So that's 90 field bomb for the Ukraine, Israel, and Gaza and Taiwan without any border provisions. Okay. The Republicans who joined the Democrats in a voting favor, Murkowski from Arkansas, Mitch McConnell from Kentucky, Cassidy from LA, Wicker from Mississippi, Young from Indiana, Collins, I'm not sure what ME is. Not Missouri. I don't know. ME. That's West Virginia, Louisiana, Kevin, even Kennedy, which I was surprised. Kennedy. All right. Kennedy from Louisiana. No, Maine, excuse me. Collins from Maine, excuse me. The Thune from South Dakota. Sullivan from Arkansas. Nick Romney from Utah. Ernest from Iowa. Rounds from South Dakota. Tillis from North Carolina. Corin from Texas. Of all people, I mean, Texas. What's happening there? And Grassley. I don't even think Grassley would vote against this. You know? So, in all aspects, man, you know, take a look at the interview. And only thing I can say throughout that, and I understood the point that some things that he couldn't talk about, reason being is just like everybody else in their countries, they got their secret shit. Okay, I understand it. Hopefully it's not nefarious, you know, but, you know, take a look for yourself. But it's plain and simple, and it's written in stone. You know what I'm saying? That Biden administration, the cronies in the Republican Party, you know, what was that? The cronies in the Republican Party and all these cats, man, all these cats that's there, the Republicans, the Democrats, and all that stuff like that, the uniparty. You're seeing a uniparty. You're seeing a two-tier system. You're seeing what they're doing. They're doing the same thing to Putin and what they're doing to Trump. And I'm going to go into more detail in that. But you know what? I mean, I'm just going to be honest with you. I love America first, and I want everybody to make their country great, make their country great. But as far as I'm concerned, right here, as I've seen it, as I've been watching, not saying everything I believe, but a good majority of things that I have learned have been vindicated. And I understand what he's saying when Trump, well, when not Trump, when Tucker sat there and said, "Well, why don't you put that evidence out that the United States and the British got the biggest media web over the world. So what is their propaganda going to do? They're powerless when it comes to the machine of what the mainstream media and mainstream news could do. Look what's happening to the world right now. You know. So, anyways, that's my assessment. That I want Putin to make his country great just as well as I want mine to make me great, but want mine to be great. Just as what my older boss. I got too many friends around the world, all around the world, you know, and I'm for the common folk as an American citizen, and that's a common American citizen to all the common citizens of your countries. I just want to say, as an American citizen, I love all of y'all. I really do. You don't know how much I love all of y'all. Y'all are God's creation. Some of y'all, y'all, some of y'all, man, you know what I'm saying? Even though you're evil as hell, I still love you. But God's going to deal with you. Find God before God finds you. Trust me. Trust me when I say this. There's a situation going down right now that I said this to a person. And that's all I'm going to say about that. But this is real, dude. It's real. All right? All y'all. Make your countries great. Right? Canada above us. Make Canada great. We know what Trudeau's doing. Mexico. Make Mexico below us. Make Mexico great. Keep them people down inside their countries. Fight for your shit. America. We got to hold this down in the name of Jesus Christ. Germany. Good job, man. Keep it up. Keep it pushing. Netherlands, same thing. Good job. Keep it pushing. Britain, do your thing. Keep it pushing. China, common folk, Chinese citizens. I see y'all on Getter, man. Thank you for your support. Keep it pushing. Make your country great. Everybody, make your country great. It says inside the Bible, love thy neighbor as thyself. You don't love thy neighbor nor thyself, how can you love the Father? Also, the greatest commandment is love your enemies, and that's the hardest thing you do. But the most powerful thing to how to love our enemies is we pray for them and pray that they find you, they find that person, or that person finds God, or God will find them one way or another. This now is time to move the mountains. Now is time. You know what I'm saying? To get inside your Bibles, do the best you can. And look, I'm not perfect. I have stuff that I do that I shouldn't be doing, dude. All right? I'm not going to sit there and say that I'm holier than thou or anybody like that, because I tell you what, only thing, as I said before, only thing I ask God is to please don't pass me by. Please. That's it. So we have to love our enemies. That means you have to love Joe Biden, even though you want to call him so many names, not putting memes and all that, but you got to love him too. And God will be done with him. Believe in him. Believe in God. God's will be done to all these people. As I says, I pray, I pray to God right now, just like Abraham, the people, your people here in the United States is a lot more than what was in Sodom and Gomorrah, hopefully. I know it's inevitable, Lord, of your will be done, but only thing I ask is for some time to give these people their last chance to get right with God before you take me off this earth. I want to be that, I want to be a vessel. I'm not sure how to do it. I'm still learning how to do it. I'm still studying how to do it. And I'm still praying how to do it. But right now, at this time, in this day, in this age, in this minute, at this breath, I'm trying to do your will to the best of my ability, on a for real. Because this is just one minor aspect, but this is serious because you know what? Let's be honest. If Russia and the United States, all right, and possibly China, right? Because everybody's telling us who to hate. Everybody's telling us who to hate. But we'll just go Russia and United States. We clean our swamp, have good relations with Russia, possibly good relations with China, possibly good relationships with North Korea. Clean the swamp inside clean the swamp inside the Islamic community, and stuff like that. Because I ain't going to sit there. I ain't the one to sit there and judge a whole sect of people just on a few of the whole sect's beliefs, and plus a few of the sect's beliefs in it. But plus also understand that from my perspective, not disgracing anybody's religion or anything like that, that little do you know that there's over 72 sects of Muslims in the world, all right, who study Islam. Because I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? As you might as well says Islamists, because Muslim is not a noun. It's Muslim means submitting yourself to the translated as submitting yourself to the will of God. And I submit myself to the will of God. So in some and that's as in for the definition of the word, because I got Muslim friends, I got Muslim brothers, I got Jewish friends, I got Jewish brothers, just like I got Catholic friends and Catholic brothers and all that. Satanists, I kind of stay away, but if they're hungry, I'll feed them. If they, that type of stuff, I just have to, I stay away, but let alone if God puts me into that position, then I deal with it then. But other than that, you know what I'm saying? Everybody, because that's going to give us to get us right, man. And then for God to give us time, because now we know what these people are capable of doing. You see it through our borders. You see on how much they care about our borders. We're sending our money overseas. You see how they're doing with our gas prices and how they want to take our arms away and completely just rip the blame Constitution in two. Now you know. But let alone, man, it's time for me to get out. My final assessment with them is that, what, man, be honest with you, we gotta sit down with Putin. Everybody gotta sit down with Putin. And you know what? If y'all don't want to do it, this is every swamp and everybody's government. You know what I'm saying? We're going to have to vote you out, kick you out, censor you out, all that stuff like that. All countries, not just America. I'm speaking for America first, but also I'm speaking for my friends and family that lives in other countries. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love all of y'all because number one is we were put in the middle of this fight. They think of us as cattle. All of us common folk all around the world. Russia may have their own way of doing their government, all that stuff like that. But I can tell you what, though, man, as far as I'm concerned, man, you know, I go, their people's pretty much cool. They're living their lives and their economy is thriving. For as I can see, that, you know what I'm saying, and what I have seen is that Russia is way more freer than us, if you really want to look at it. But no. They got their borders on lock, they got their country on lock, and they ain't playing around when it comes to their people. I have no problems with that. Because our president sure ain't doing it, letting all these people and terrorists and all that stuff come in. And he sees it. Russia used 50% of their GDP purchases was done by the dollar. Now 13%, and now it's down. They use the dollar at 13%. All right. So the banks. So if this is a U.S. dollar supposed to be the main currency at 13%, they want to sit there and bring in. They sit there and they want to bring in this federalized cryptocurrency that is owned by the centralized banks, right? To sit there basically that your money has an expiration date, so you won't be able to save. It's like a weekly allowance, feeding you the weekly allowance to you. Everybody gets paid a certain amount and live in a little box and eat bugs, and you will have nothing and you will like it. Yeah, Russia and all these 14 countries are sitting there with some people saying the 10 kings and all that stuff like that. Yes, that's possible. That is well noted. Because little do you know that no matter what, no matter where we go, it's going to be a new world order. It's going to be a one government. But for right now, what type of government do you want to have? One government one government of all governments? That sounds like the UN to me. It was supposed to, the UN, what I thought was supposed to be all countries sitting at the table and trying to work things out, and that ain't doing too good. Now you have the UN, you have NATO. These motherfuckers want to rule the world. And that's not what it was even for, what I thought it was for. You know? I want to tell you what, though, man, you know, and I know I'm not the only one. You know what I'm saying? I ain't no prophet. I ain't nothing. But the Lord may give us one more chance. You know what I'm saying? And to all y'all that's out here that's trying to spread the word to the best of their ability to reach the people that even the churches can't reach, you know, keep it moving, man. This is what we got to do. You know what I'm saying? This is our chance. Because after us, after the Lord takes us, however, wherever that may be, you know, because I ain't going to get your hopes up. I ain't giving you no dates. I don't know. All right? And that's what the Lord told me to say. I don't know, man. You know? And because no one knows the day, no one knows the time. There's angels, nor there's a son. Only the Father knows this. So since the Father only knows this, then I ask the Father to give us this time to save the few that we can before you take us off this earth. I personally would like the Enoch and Elijah way of doing it, personally. All right. But also at the same time, I'd rather leave peacefully. Like Methuselah. Day after I die, the flood. I don't know, dude. I don't know. But those are just little things that me and God fickle about inside my prayers. Because I ain't gonna lie to you, man. Like some of my people say it's your personal relationship with Jesus Christ, and I ain't gonna lie. I mean, I have a relationship I love. I'm humble to God. Jesus Christ is my personal savior and all that. But you know what, man? I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes, man, we just have fun. Me, God, Jesus' name, we just have fun. And I do. I ain't gonna lie to you with that. You know, I mean, I love the Lord. I love God. I love Jesus Christ. Yes, it's very, very serious, but you know what, man? I'll be honest. I do say that I can say that I spiritually, me and God spiritually have fun together. You know, and I know people don't understand that, but wasn't Abraham God's friend? You know? So the churches sit there and say it's your own personal relationship with Jesus Christ. So if I have my personal relationship with Jesus Christ, then why is other Christians all up in our business in our personal relationship with him? I just let you in my secret place. Me and the Lord has a lot of fun together. He's not just my God. He's my father, but also he's my friend. Yo, check this out, man. Be blessed. You know, don't take your life for granted. You know, and man, pray. Watch the X video of Tucker and Putin. Because honestly, man, without bias and me being American first, yo, I love my country, God, family, country. That means a world to me. But as in being just, I don't see nothing wrong with Putin's doing. Y'all be God bless. I'm out.